Good evening, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Super Metroid Map Rando Multicategory Tournament. We've got a race here between Paf and Supersponge. Should be a fun one. I believe these are two fairly highly seeded players. We've got a full best of three coming at you, potentially going into the wee hours of the night. Well, not that deep, depending on where you live. It's pretty late for me as an East Coaster. I am, of course, Derp, joined by Nito. How you feeling about this one?
This is definitely gonna be a very evenly fought matchup. I think both of these guys are like well skilled in multiple areas, and we're gonna see some back and forth here throughout the match for sure.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close race, and I definitely expect a three-game series, but we'll see what ends up happening. We do have double suit for game one. Bans were path banning Metroids, basically the standard ban for this tournament. Sponge banned Gravity 9+1, another fairly common ban, although it's not as banned in higher ranked, like higher seeded games, but it can be a little bit tricky. It can force a lot of hell runs without good refills that can really slow you down. So we won't see either of those categories. It means we have double suit for game one, and then our next two are no objectives and Varia plus water movement. I don't have a strong opinion on a lot of the modes, so I like to ask people who do. What do you think about the bans for this series?
Certainly, Metroids is the most common ban. It definitely does not see a lot of play. A lot of people tend to just remove it out of the pool right away. I do think the Grav 9+1 is an interesting ban. There's definitely a lot of people that like playing the suited modes, but I can definitely see wanting to take out the health management aspect of the matchup. And so throughout this matchup, seeing double suit and either Varia plus movement or no objectives at some point, certainly going to play to each player's strengths throughout it.
Yep. To be clear, this was Sponge's pick. He was the one opting into double suit. We do see a fairly early morph ball. That is something that can be a little bit tricky with double suit because so much of the game is accessible with Varia and Gravity. It can sometimes lead you away from the morph ball, especially in a seed like this where you got super missiles basically right out of the gate, which could have opened up a lot of pathways. But we were able to find the morph early. There was also a bombs that showed up earlier at the GT missile location. Neither runner opted to get that out of logic, but that is something they may want to keep in mind for once they have Spring Ball or Space Jump.
I was not sure if either of them grabbed bombs at GT or not. I thought I might have seen Supersponge make the jump.
Okay, chat telling me Sponge did grab it.
Okay, Sponge did get the bombs. Thank you very much.
Well, they both got it apparently. Okay, so never mind. They have those bombs. They are technically out of logic. You do need, again, space or spring ball, or bombs themselves to get across.
That could be
but both
having
having
one
the
of
bombs
those
is going to be
majors is nearby, so they may be keeping an eye out for that, or perhaps even power bombs.
Well, the map is down here, past the key stairs. Potentially. This is probably going to be the pre-sport spawn room. Not quite, but the map is over here. It could potentially be vanilla Fantoon setup. And it is. That's pretty hype. So Sponge entering the fight. Here. A 5 Super Fantoon fight is a bit rough, and it's going to be even worse for Sponge only entering with 3 on hand. So is going to have to get a couple lucky super drops from these flames and make sure not to miss any.
Yeah, it's
There's
not
one.
common, but supers do drop. Oof.
Well, he got a drop and then missed the shot. There's another one, though.
Paf spotting that the map was deactivated because of Fantoon and takes a revert back to his last save.
Okay, Sponge actually going to opt to shoot these flames as well for this enrage cycle. Maybe trying to farm up another super. You can wall jump around them if your wall jumps are tight enough. And with double suit, getting hit by these flames isn't the end of the world compared to like if you didn't have the suits and were taking 40 damage from the flames.
Yeah, now you're only taking 10 with the double suit, so it makes it a lot more manageable to just deal with the enrage round.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another miss super, though. This is not going well.
He definitely will need to farm these flames during the enrage to just hope for any sort of super drops.
Path finds a second super pack. Not quite what he was looking for. It's going to check the back of GT. Can't actually grab the item, or... Well, I guess he technically could, but it would be a little bit miserable. It is just a missile, but that missile is kind of valuable. Probably not valuable enough to be worth fighting GT, though. Oh, there's a super. I don't know if Sponge can get it.
I think if he crouch jumps,
Okay, there we go.
grab that.
Alright, so Sponge has gotten 2 super drops, missed 2 supers, and got 2 more. A little bit fortunate, but now needs to execute the rest of the fight.
Oh, he
goodness.
just kind of accidentally fired that one. I know there's a lot of debate on whether you do the 5 super Fantoon fight or whether you look around for missiles, and it's always just kind of a gamble, depending on what you see within the map so far, on what the chances are of picking up missiles.
Okay, Sponge being very careful on that last super. Didn't want to miss it again. Was actually doing a pretty good job farming that enrage cycle, especially on that last one. Was pretty consistently hitting the flames as they spawned, which hits all 4 at once. Or all 8 at once, even. I think is how many flames there are. So was able to get enough super drops despite a couple misses, and now we'll get access to the sprint map.
Meanwhile, Paf has found his first power bombs here in Big Pink.
Yeah, I got a power bomb and an E-tank and a major, but I didn't see which one it was.
I did not either.
Chat saying it is spring ball. Okay. So Sponge is presumably going to head over here as soon as possible. Well, taking a moment to plan out the route, potentially. So it's going to be a bit of a seeing which method is faster here. Sponge, obviously, getting that Brinstar map is very valuable, but it was a big time commitment doing so. Going through that super Fantoon that really wasn't nice with the patterns either. There were a few slows.
Paf finally seeing the first missile pack that he wants to grab here in Crumble Shaft, and I gotta think that the amount of backtracking he's gonna have to do to get back to Fantoon might have made the super fight worth it, but I guess it's still too early to tell.
There's actually a bit of an awkward situation for Sponge, having 50 health. Gets one shot by this Key Hunter here. There is a manip to get around this first Key Hunter, and then jumping in the corner here gets around the last 2. Usually.
I always find getting around this top Key Hunter to be really finicky. I know that there is a setup there to manipulate it down to the same level as the middle Key Hunter and make it a lot easier to get around. But
yeah, I think it is what Sponge is doing, but you don't want to be aiming down because that actually moves you higher than if you just jump normally. I think you aim diagonally down, which changes your hitbox slightly differently, and that actually makes a difference here. Well, this is manageable. Yeah, Sponge actually could have rolled under that Key Hunter. I can turn myself down on Discord if that balances the audio a little bit better.
Yeah, I do apologize, everyone. I am maxed out with my input volume in Discord, so I'm not sure how much else I can do with that.
Alright, I turned myself down to 75%. Let me know if that sounds better.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let us know if that's balanced out.
Alright, so Sponge made it out of Key Stairs. Path is now going back to this Fantoon fight. Apparently I can go even lower. Maybe this is a little bit better. Yeah, Path's gonna have a much better Fantoon fight. Sponge. Knowledge of the map, so might get to do a little bit more. I assume this is the way to Big Pink that Sponge is going right now. Looks like it's about to go in the bottom right entrance. Yep.
Yeah, it is. Sponge picking up that spring ball, and the first power bomb's at the bottom of Big Pink. So overall, how do we think that worked out between doing the super only fight versus bringing a missile pack back?
Where's the portal out of this area? I would need to know that to really know. But I didn't see on either of their maps.
I did not see either.
If it's closer to Big Pink, I think this is actually still advantage Sponge, but only slightly. A lot of deaths in Key Stairs definitely made things a little bit shakier. Also, I should sound better now. I was turning down my my output audio instead of my input, so I wasn't changing, and you were getting quieter for me.
Oh, now I'm the loud one.
It's a disaster. I bumped you down a little bit on the SpeedGaming side.
Okay.
Looks like Lava Dive is the way to go. I think this leads to another major. Oh, this is going to be close for Sponge.
Should be okay. Yeah, just barely makes it.
Well, the issue is this is double chamber. This is going to be sketchy. Okay, Sponge handles it well.
nice heal off the Kago at the bottom. And now he's going to make his way back up to check what this major is in double chamber.
There's the
Okay, so
portals out, by the way. Both
Yeah.
criteria at the bottom of... It was down the tube and then at the bottom of Big Pink. Both lead to criteria. I think we'll see Paf also go for some of these majors over here, though. Sponge having a little bit of trouble with this wall jump to the top of double chamber. But there we go.
Another relevant note is that Ridley is in the top right corner of Brinstar.
Yeah, I saw that as well. We probably won't want to stray too far from criteria for that reason, because we do want to go back for that. You actually see Paf going out of his way for a couple more X's, grabbing this one back here. I think you do want these power bombs. He came all the way for them.
Yeah, it would be a wasted effort to just leave him behind, and even power bombs will add into your total damage on Ridley should you make the decision to go back and take care of him.
Yeah, they're not super necessary. Once you have those bombs, you can really get away with only having 5 power bombs, but with the potential Ridley fight coming up, you're going to want all the ammo you can get, like you say.
And now both the racers are in sync as they make their way down to criteria.
It's actually just down an elevator, not down the tube. My mistake. Kind of a funny transition here. Or actually, no, the tube was correct, but it's on the other side. But a kind of funny transition. Usually that elevator goes from criteria to Bryn, and here it is going from Bryn to criteria.
Exactly.
Chip is directly to the right. Sponge is going to find that. Paf is headed straight left to try to get this map.
Another super pack is starting to put Ridley in possible territory. Close. Not quite yet, but definitely getting to be possible soon.
Unfortunately, heading to the right really only yielded a super pack, but don't think Paf is going to be too upset about that. I would imagine. Sponge finds a space jump and an X-ray, 2 majors, but maybe not the 2 we wanted.
Yeah, not at the moment, though that space jump will definitely prove useful throughout the rest of the rando. The earlier you find space jump, the more benefit you're going to get out of its movement, and it's still relatively early.
Yeah, looks like this is also going to make it to the criteria map. Paf is actually going the other way, going back to Bryn and going to the other criteria entrance to try to get the map that way. I think I like that overall, but it's gonna kind of hurt him, actually. Sponge gonna get a lot of things in criteria blind that it may take Paf a while to get.
And Sponge has also already reached the map. So
Yep.
I don't know if getting the map is actually his intention.
There's a major back by landing site. I wonder if we see Sponge just reset and go grab that. And then there's basically every area transition here as well.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yep, no surprise. I would imagine he grabs the X as well. On the bottom left. Or the bottom right, I mean.
So we're going to see him IBJ up to the top right door here. Let me check this out. And it looks like Paf is going to spot that grapple. He'll definitely pick that up before he heads out. But yeah, I guess I'm a little confused by Paf backtracking into Bryn. Unless he just knew that that major was still on his radar and he wanted to go back and check.
Yeah, it makes more sense if he was just leaving behind the major and scouting criteria. But I don't know if I love that play either, to be honest. Either way, though, seems to be a way back for Path. So
Sponge finding the best beam, Spazer Beam.
yeah, didn't go for the X though. It was just one room away. I think that's a bit of a mistake. Excuse me, knowing that Ridley is so close. At the same time, though, you know you have to come back to Criteria. There was actually a Mother Brain in the bottom left of that area, so in theory, you can check out the rest of the world first, and then come back later with hopefully a charge beam. Path is actually going to try to... was trying to ice clip up to this item. I'm going to opt for just an IBJ instead.
A very brief try on that. Only really gave it one shot, and otherwise he was just going to rely on the bombs to get up.
I think that's a fine decision. That ice clip,
Yeah.
of course, not in hard logic.
Yeah, that ice clip would purely be to just optimize how fast he could do that, but certainly not necessary and certainly not easy to just pull off on your first go. It's a pretty precise trick. Unless you have
Do you just go straight down to N here for Sponge? I think that's what I do, and it looks like Sponge agrees.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, there's a lot of X's here, but there aren't any majors, and you might be thinking you want to just major hunt in this situation. I've already found a lot, and it is double suit, so you start with 2 of the majors already.
Right. Sponge picking up his 30 tank, making that all the required energy that he's going to need for the rest of the rando.
Morpher map is not too far away, depending on what this down door is. Could just take us right there. This is like an elevator. Doesn't look like it, though.
Mount Everest.
Alright, so Path is going to enter right above the map. Going to find criteria and find the kind of bad news that all the majors are basically back where he first entered. The one at the ship, the 2 at early supers. But that isn't too far away either.
Yeah, only a few rooms. And then if he wants to, he could pivot to that Meridia entrance at the bottom of Happy Climb.
Norfer has a Dragon, has a couple majors. I counted 3. One in the bottom, one on the left, one in the top right, or kind of top right, close to where we entered.
Also see an entrance to Wrecked Ship to the right of the bottom of the Sand Falls off of Aqueduct.
Yeah, so it's looking like Norfair is the place to be. Wreck Ship being the one area that wasn't connected to Criteria, it looked like. So getting that out of the way is going to be really nice. A few majors is going to be great as well. Once we find charge, or once Sponge finds his charge, he's fully in go mode. Actually, that's not quite true. You need a missile pack. But I'm sure that will not be too hard to obtain.
Yeah, there are missiles abound throughout the entire world. It's actually quite impressive that he hasn't run into one yet, but it has been majority X's and majors so far. So
He's actually going to
he's
go
getting his first one.
Go for this one under the ocean. So here's the first major of Norfair through the Crab Maze. Could potentially be a double. I don't think we've seen the double item room yet.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Billy Mays.
Not a double, but it is a good one.
That is a very good find. grabbing speed boosters always just like it's very comforting to know that now you're not going to be really blocked by anything. You don't have to worry about Frog Speedway, Decora, or any of those speed locked rooms. It just takes away a lot of that
Looks like
stress.
speed's actually required.
That is true.
The only path to Dragon, that looks like Frog Speedway.
Yeah.
So big find there for sure.
We did see what that X was to the right of the ship. It was power bombs.
Okay. So Path can kill Ridley with this. It's not the most comfortable thing ever, but it is doable.
He can, but he does need to find that speed booster first so that he can actually get up there.
Now, was Ridley also speed locked?
Yeah, he was up past the core room back in Bryn.
This actually wasn't Frog Speedway, it was Thread the Needle. I think it's a one tile shorter room, but it's kind of hard to tell the two apart, especially with how the map was laid out. It was just one long path with like nothing adjacent.
Yeah, I think Frog Speedway is 8 tiles and Thread the Needle is 7. That's
That sounds
the only
right.
hint you get. Sponge is going to be making his way to Dragon here. And with Grapple, this should be a relatively easy kill.
Yep. Grapple in both suits to make it fairly comfortable. Path went down to Meridia, it looks like, got the map fairly quickly and did not continue. So whatever he found in Meridia, he did not want to do it. Means we're still looking for Kraid. That is going to be either in Wreck Ship or Turian. Not sure which is the best case for Path. It really depends on if Sponge goes back to that Meridia.
Yeah, it's tough to say. It really is a 50-50 at that point on which region you should visit.
That is
kill on Dre.
Yep, as predicted, no trouble at all. So there's 2 more majors in this area, but one of them's pretty far away, and I actually wonder if Sponge is gonna skip it. So I think it would have been faster to go grab it before going to Dre. This is a bit of a risky skip, though, especially for Sponge, who is currently a super down on Path.
Yeah, if he could spike that charge beam, he'd be in complete go mode at this point.
Absolutely.
On his mind.
It's definitely not the most comfortable Ridley fight, though, especially since you're going to have to use basically all the ammo to do the fight. Yeah, that major is really far away. Huh. You really would have had to go get it before climbing up Climb again. So we'll see if Path does that. And if so, what will it yield? Looks like he is. So if this is charge, it will be pretty big. It's a high jump at the Bryn Reserve.
Not a bad find, but also not really like there's no real progression at this point. You're just looking for the means to round up the rest of the bosses.
Yeah, having the full boot package feels nice with high jump speed, space. Gives you so much mobility through these rooms.
It does look like Sponge is going to let that major go, so we'll see what Path finds here.
This is a big moment. There aren't that many majors left. It's like Screw or one of the 3 beams. And it is the worst one.
Yep, that
It's a wave
is
beam.
not going to work out. I think Sponge is... Well, I thought he might consider going to Meridia, considering he was close in proximity.
Did he ever check Wreck Ship?
I don't think he did, no.
Okay, that is non-trivial. Potentially.
Yeah, that could be huge.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, Sponge not getting that. Also, couldn't go back to Bryn yet to do the Ridley fight. So... maybe going back to Meridian now, actually. Or no, going back to Wreck Ship now. I think he may have realized that, oh wait, I have forgotten a very important thing to check here.
Yeah.
So, very critical backtrack here. Most likely.
It's good he made that decision when he did.
Maybe. Sponge is getting the major now?
No, I think he is going to Wreck Ship.
Okay, he's just taking the bottom entrance.
Yeah.
Alright,
So
that's fine.
through Aqueduct.
I think it's a bit slower, but that's alright. Not a huge deal.
Have getting that critical speed booster, so now both players are capable of making their way to Ridley. Path is a little bit better equipped ammo-wise to take care of it, though.
Yeah, if Charge is in Turian, it's actually going to be kind of awkward for Sponge. Going to have to go all the way to the farthest area, and then all the way back to Bryn for Ridley. Whereas for Path, especially if Kraid is here in Wreck Ship, I think it's going to work out a lot better. But this is basically the best case scenario for Sponge, I think. 2 majors, they're both fairly close. Very high chance one of them is going to be Charge, and that gives Path the ability to go straight back to Ridley and avoid that long backtrack. Or give Sponge, sorry. The Plasma. So one more major. It's either Charge or Screw, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that would be correct. We've seen Wave from Path and High Jump from Sponge, so only one of 2 options remaining.
And it is the Charge Beam. Okay.
Okay. Sponge now in full-on go mode.
Yeah, that was a very fortunate turn of events for Sponge, for sure. So definitely a good thing he went back for it. Almost skipped the crucial area here. So I assume you go back to Bryn now. This is the closest you'll ever be to Bryn.
Have we seen Mother Brain?
Yeah, Mother Brain is bottom left of Criteria.
Okay. I do wonder if it's worth checking Meridia.
Well,
or has
Path
Path already been there?
checked Meridia. I didn't see what was on the map, but Path basically left immediately, so I don't think there was anything valuable.
I see.
Yeah, Path is going back to Bryn right away. Has 25 supers. This is a pretty comfortable Ridley fight. Gonna need to use a few power bombs, but should be fine. overall. I don't know if Paf fought Dragon yet, though.
I don't believe he has. So he's doing this backtrack before completing that objective. That feels a little off.
Yeah, before completing that and before checking Wreck Ship, which, again, is only connected to Norfair. It's not a huge deal, because Norfair is on the way back to the rest of the game, as in Mother Brain and Turian, where Braid has to be, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it just feels a little suboptimal to also have to swing by the right side of Norfair again to then have to go to the left side to get to the other unexplored region still.
Yeah. Paf is going to get a nice routing quirk here, though. Once he finishes Brinstar, he can actually take the right portal back down to Criteria, which goes right past the ship, so he'll get a nice ammo refill. So it does have that going for him, at least.
Yeah, factors like that are critical if you're taking this ammo route, which I think he's committed to at this point. He's probably not going to go out of his way looking for other majors.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit awkward if he goes to Wreck Ship, since there's two majors, one of them is charged and both of them are close. It's going to feel pretty bad there. This is going to sound silly, but unironically, the best situation for Paf is that he just forgets that Dragon is in Norfair. So then he goes to Turian, finds Kraid, scans the map, finds Dragon, and then never goes to Wreck Ship at all.
So if that house somehow works that way, that would definitely be the best case scenario.
Yeah, it's a very absurd thing to happen. Not that forgetting something is that crazy, like it happens to pretty much every map rando player, but the fact that it would objectively help Paf is very funny.
Yeah, I miss regions all the time. It's just you're in the heat of the moment of the race and you're focused on one thing and you just kind of have a blind spot to making sure you're fully covering all of the things you need to get to.
Alright, so Paf opening up the fight with some power bombs. Technically only needed 2 power bombs to connect to finish the rest off with missiles. Only needed 500 damage outside of the missiles and supers. But Paf opted for a few extra power bombs, which I believe gives him a super of leeway at the moment. And then if he misses more than one, he'll have to lay a few more bombs.
Yeah, if you're planning to use any power bombs in the early fight, it's best to do it in the earlier part of the fight. I find that laying power bombs in this faster phase often leads to very mixed results on Ridley's behavior and how he reacts to the power bomb.
There we go. Ridley being a little bit uncooperative there at the end. But that's fine. Paf gonna remember this missile that
is really fight.
Yeah, we'll see how many super sponge ops to use on Ridley. He also has the option of going by the ship on his way back down, and I don't really know why you wouldn't. I think it's a pretty comparable speed, and you taking the one that gives you a free refill on the way is probably the better one to do in general.
Yeah, it's even possible that they'll just get sufficient drops along the way that they might not even have to do a committed refill like that.
What's Paf doing with the spark?
I don't no.
Whatever it was, he did not accomplish it. I thought he might potentially be trying to, like, speedball down those bomb blocks. But didn't do that. Also is not taking the ship refill.
Oh yeah, he's just gonna go to the other criteria entrance. Okay, that is once again interesting that he's just gonna opt for picking up the ammo somewhere else along the way.
Yeah, I think we've seen a missile refill as well. And I think one of the double refills was back in Bryn, which Path is about to leave. Is back on the other side. So the places to easily refill ammo are limited.
He may have to opt for an enemy farm, which just ultimately is lower than any of the refill stations.
You actually saw it on Sponge's screen. It's connected, or not quite connected, but close to Big Pink. He's one of the double refills.
I think Sponge is going to opt for the ship refill, but with also the purpose of checking Meridia if he hasn't already.
Yeah, I don't believe Sponge has checked Meridia. Looks like Path is going back to Norfair. Unfortunately, he does remember that Dragon is there. Which is going to lose him time, because he will also go to wreck ship in the process. There's a missile refill somewhere over there in Norfair. I went past it when going down the post-croc shaft. I don't know how to get to it, though.
Yeah, I didn't see where it was in relation to Dragon. Not that he needs ammo for the Dragon fight. He does have grapple, so that'll still be a quick fight.
Right. But it was probably accessible through the top left of Everest. I would have to see the map again to know for sure, though.
Yeah. I think Sponge is bypassing Meridia, which ultimately is a good call.
Yeah, it's gonna work out. And that should pretty much seal this race, unless something very crazy happens. Now Sponge is closer to Kraid, with nothing else left to do, while Path actually still needs a little bit more ammo. And is most likely about to go the wrong way. Into wreck ship. Terrain map is pretty far.
Yeah, it's a very tall region. I think on your way up, it would be definitely worth checking any left and right doors just to see if you wander into Kraid.
And definitely potential to just spike the Kraid. And Sponge went for a spike there, but no luck. And so just have to accept getting the map. And there it is.
Way at the bottom.
Back where we started. Screw attack is also there if Sponge so chooses to grab it. Honestly, might do more harm than good, though. I don't know if has the ability to speed zeb skip, so the screw might just need to be turned off right away.
Yeah, I think Mother Brain was connected to Bubble Mountain, which generally will not give you the runway to do a speed zeb skip. So getting the screw attack would potentially just be a time loss with having to turn it off to do the ice zeb skip. And yeah, Path is going to wreck ship, so he's going to be a little disappointed here in what he finds.
Yeah, I don't think there was a save either for him to reset.
Very good quick kill from Sponge.
It's a small Meridia. I didn't realize like how small that area was.
Yeah, Path was in there for such a small amount of time that like I didn't even remember him stopping by there.
Yeah, I barely caught it, honestly. I saw him leaving the area, and that was it. The map was close, and the area was barren, so there just wasn't anything to see.
Yeah. Path did commit to checking that major being plasma and decided not to pick it up.
Does find a super though, so that is just go mode. No reason to check the last major.
Yeah, he's got all the ammo he needs for the fight.
It is a bit tight. You might want a couple more missiles if you can get them, but as we said earlier, missiles are fairly common. You'll probably find them on the way. There's also a bunch of X's up by Turian.
Gotta be a little careful here with his energy. He's running a little low off of these Metroids. Sponge picking up some extra E-tanks as insurance for when he gets to Mother Brain.
Actually gonna get a bunch on path here. Just down. I think this is the fastest way to Mother Brain. Not even gonna bother grabbing that one. 5 is enough.
Yeah.
Path can go down for this missile refill if he wants, yeah. I mentioned this earlier. I wasn't totally sure how to get to it. I guess top left of Everest would have worked technically. It's actually a little sketchy for Sponge. Got a lot of missiles blocked.
Yeah, he's got to be really careful here.
Yeah, if every super hits, this should be fine. I didn't see exactly how many missiles hit though. Sponge is actually
he's scared. He's gonna bail. With for those that aren't
super
quite sure
hit, it
how,
was just enough.
For those that aren't quite sure about how the Mother Brain 1 phase works, it requires 18 shots to break the tank. The shots that hit the tank and not Mother Brain don't count towards the damage, so you need a little extra beyond that, but Mother Brain 1 has 3,000 HP, but you still have to fully break the tank, even if you do surpass that damage threshold, so it was looking pretty spicy there, and Sponge definitely made the right call to just come back in with full ammo and guarantee that he can get this fight started.
Yeah, the tank first breaks open once you hit it with 6 projectiles, so it was definitely enough, but it was, again, just enough, and one mistake would have softlock Sponge, who has not saved in a while. Neither of the runners have. The saves haven't really been showing up, and they haven't really been necessary either.
So this does give Path a small window here. If he can maybe just run into Kraid, he might have a shot of catching up here.
I think Kraid is far enough off the path to the map that I don't think Path is going to run into it. But In the world where he did, it would have actually been very close, like you say.
Yeah, you're probably right. It doesn't look like he's heading in that direction.
Yeah, you'd have to go pretty much the complete opposite direction from the map. Go take the down door in Plasma Spark Room. I think that would have led to Everest, and then that still doesn't cleanly lead to Kraid. You have to do some blind fumbling around.
Yeah, it would feel terrible to try and make that decision, and then ultimately, if Kraid wasn't there, now you've just wasted time by not going to the map. So now, I'm not sure if Sponge knows how to do a Zeb skip on the second Zeb gate.
It's a lot trickier. It actually would be easier to break the second Zeb and then do the skip on the third, because that is close to identical to the first.
Yeah, I agree. So that is what he's going to do, but he's using a lot of his missiles to do it.
Yeah, just gonna
He's just going
optic
to commit.
full break the Zebs.
Yeah, so he's going to need another farm session here. I'm not saying that that fully opens the window for Path, but it is extending the possibility of him catching up here.
Again, I think it's not quite enough, but it's closer than it needed to be, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't entirely blame Sponge. I think I was in a similar situation in one of my races versus Spiffy earlier in the tournament. But it definitely feels bad, both to play and to watch the situation play out. And as chat pointing out, remember Sponge did full skip Meridia. If all of this happened and Sponge had gone to Meridia and spent the minute-ish to get the map, that might have been enough. That might have been enough for Path, I mean.
Yeah. Now, Sponge definitely should have enough to get this Mother Brain fight started.
Yeah, it's pretty cozy now. You can get a lot of shots blocked by the turrets. Still be fine. So this charge combo will deal 600, as many as the supers, so need 21 charge shots, and then can finish off with the ammo. Here comes Path. Into the Mother Brain fight. Not quite fast enough. Escape shouldn't be too bad. Basically just have to go back the way you came.
Yeah, it was a lot closer than it seemed it would have been.
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a lot closer than it should have been. But it looks like Sponge is closing it out, which
As long
I would
as
say is a
there's
good thing.
a major shamble here on the escape, you should be good.
Sponge took the time to plan out the escape route, so shouldn't have any trouble there. Who would never? once you get up to Parlor, it's just a straight line. Take the top right door, and then this path leads you straight to the ship. I think we said at the beginning this would be a close series. It's cool to see how close the first race is actually. Going to be decided by around 30 seconds real time. Maybe a little bit more, but it's close. But Sponge is going to finish in first with an official time of 55:02. Half going to finish it out, already being most of the way through the escape. Has one more room to go. Handles it no problem with that screw got from the escape. And it will finish with an official time of 55:43. So 41 seconds is the difference in the first race. Welcome back to game 2 of the series, the best of 3 between Paf and Supersponge. Had a very close game 1, where Sponge was able to win by less than 45 seconds. Moves on to game 2, Paf's category pick, which will be Varia plus the water movement items, those being high jump, grapple, ice, and spring ball. Ask you in the beginning of game 1. I'll ask you again here, Nito. What are your thoughts on this category? I know it's really starting to be arguably the most popular, but I was wondering if you had a different opinion.
Yeah, I love this category. It's mainly to me, like, I don't know if this is probably just a me thing, but I love how this category just enables just the ability to get around everywhere, but also use the items that you're given at the start to maybe sort of bypass what the rando was intending. And I see the most capability here for logic skips and getting to places where you're not normally meant to go right away. So this category is very exciting to me. I'm not sure if this is how the racers feel about it, but I love this category.
Yeah, absolutely. I should also mention, as you just saw updated on screen, we do have a tracker now, WXFan21, volunteering to track for us. Big shout out to him. Been doing a lot of comms for this tournament.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate the extra help here in the commentator and tracker area.
I'm going to put this ice beam to use already. We actually had to go through a Metroid room, which would have been a bit difficult otherwise without that ice.
Yeah, you don't normally need to go through those Metroid rooms so early, but ice definitely making them capable of getting through.
Yeah, so the runners do find themselves in the wrecked ship here, which is the smallest area in the game, normally. The map is across a sand pit. That's a little bit awkward. I'm gonna go for it. No save is a little bit scary, but should be able to get back, no problem. And that E-Tank will keep him safe from these Ever hits.
Ooh. They're doing their best, though, to mess with him on his way over.
Yeah, taking a reset here wouldn't be the end of the world, but it's definitely something you'd want to avoid if you can. There is a major. It is a trip to get there, though, but with basically nothing else to do. That major, I think, has to be morph, and then that morph gets you down out of the area. Paf actually going to take the reset. Is going to bring him a little bit closer. Or maybe just didn't want to bother going back through this sand pit.
Yeah, I agree that major has to be morph. The routes out of wrecked ship were either redfish room, which requires going through a morph tunnel, or Criteria Supers room, which requires some sort of speed booster shenanigans to get through, and also a morph tunnel. So there's only one possibility.
It's still a
that
morph
can
tunnel. Yeah, unlikely to be the X-ray insane tech required.
Yeah, not thinking that for this particular rando.
Yeah, so the runners going to be very close to each other. Sponge with a slight early lead, but both on their way over to this morph ball. Also get the power bombs on the way, which is really nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure that reset really worked out for Path. Because he got to the map first, and Sponge got there second, but now Sponge is ahead on his way to Morph Ball.
Yeah, I think it was just not wanting to bother with that Eva room. Maybe was worried about dying. Maybe wasn't sure if you could actually get back. But regardless, it does put Sponge in the slight lead that Path had at the beginning. Yeah, Sponge actually needed one more super to open the gate at the end of this Croc escape, which is the room with Morph. He was luckily able to get it from the Kago.
It is indeed Morph.
Shocking. This is actually kind of an annoying room to have to go down through, by the way. I think Sponge is debating if he wants to just go the other way. And Path is actually going to go much faster. Going to decide right away, not going to bother with that.
Yeah, I agree with not going through Mickey Mouse room to try and make their way out. They just don't have the ammo or beams required to get through the large side hoppers down there. That would definitely deal a ton of damage to them. And yeah, it's probably better to just head back this way, which is much safer.
Yeah, Sponge was paused for a while, though, deciding if it was worth it, so... Runners are basically synced up at this point, and only because Path opted to take a save on the way back. Actually going through the door on basically the same frame. Pretty crazy. 5 minutes in, we could not be closer.
We have not mirrored the images you're seeing before you. They are just tied.
It's always cool when the runners are this close for a brief moment, because you get to see how much the small execution differences matter. In this case, Path actually going to take a save to make sure he knows the route. I wonder if they're going to go for that X at Climb Super.
Yeah, I imagine they would. It's uncomfortable being at just 5 of each of those ammo types.
Yeah, again, Path actually spending a little bit less time on the map, it looked like. So that's already making a difference. We'll see how much it matters, though. It is still early goings.
Yeah, ever since they added in being able to see how much time you spend in the pause menu into the credits for the final stats, that's definitely been influencing a lot of the racers to analyze how often they're looking at the map and try and minimize and work on their map memorization as they prepared for the tournament.
Path actually accidentally shoots all the shot blocks there, couldn't get the comfortable lineup in the middle, and opted to reset the room. But yeah, there are some really good pausers now in the community. I think Nitro and Mo, who are actually going to be playing each other. I don't think that series has happened yet, right?
That has not happened yet, but yeah, Mo had a sub 1 minute pause menu in one of his games versus Nevdi, and that was insane to see.
Yeah, really strong. Nitro is also a very good pauser, so that series is going to be pretty hype. Not just because they're both good pausers, they're obviously both just really good runners.
True, yeah.
But it is cool that like two of the best pausers in the community are playing each other. Another X over here through the wave gate. Technically out of logic, but I think both of these runners can do the trick to get back. Second try for Path. Looks like second try for Sponge as well. Not too bad. And so we'll see what Norfair has for us. Map is not too far, considering how big this area is. Path actually going to opt to blind check this door to the right, which I think I like this overall, and is going to get rewarded with quite a few items.
Yeah, the farther you see the map when you enter a new region, I think the more likely and more helpful it would be to just do some of these blind checks in some of these side rooms as you slowly make your way to the map, because having to backtrack to some of these would just be more painful if you ended up skipping something that you could have grabbed along the way.
Sponge actually kept going. It's now here in the Mama Turtle room. Nothing huge over here, just a missile and a super. But that super is nice. We're already up to a lot of ammo.
Yeah, not even 10 minutes in, and they're very close to the number of supers they would like to have by the end of the game.
I didn't see what Path turned away from, but was very close to the map and did not quite get there. So it's going to try a different way. Oh, I see that. That's kind of troll.
Yeah, that's a little scary to see. So Path might be opting to go not through the actual one-way of single chamber, instead going in one of these lower entrances to minimize the chance of getting soft locked by maybe some sort of speed hallway out of there, but he should be fine.
Yeah, I don't think there was... I guess it was technically possible if there was like a weird winding path that it could have... Like, he could have had to go right first and then hooked back left into Frog Speedway or something, but I think it was generally pretty safe. I don't mind being a little bit cautious, and it is pretty hard to really tell exactly how much space you have, you know, while you're playing the game.
Yeah,
but either way, we've made it to the Norfair map. Couple majors. They're not close, though. With this much ammo, I might be tempted to just go. I won't lie. Especially for Sponge, who's also going to do the cautious path over to the map.
Yeah, so the items that they start off with in this help them to get through about 90 to 95% of the rooms, if they know the required tech for it. There are a few that will be locked by Speed Booster, but it is definitely tempting to just say, let's just power through and forget about the majors, especially with that ammo count.
So we'll see where Path goes from here. Again, found another super on the way down. Didn't opt to go all the way down towards the criteria, which actually it looks like that's locked. Or no, that's not Frog Speedway. That is Thread the Needle on the way to the map.
Yeah, yeah. That's a tricky mess of a map there with bowling alley and then ice beam gate room, and it's creating like a weird series of one-ways that looks difficult to navigate.
Yeah, you see both players are taking their time really analyzing this map. It is a mess, like you say.
It looks like the route down there would actually involve going to the top left of Norfair, and that would allow them to maybe pick up the major that's up there, or they may opt to go for the criteria entrance on the right.
Looks like Path is taking the left path. We'll see if he wants to go for the major. I think if you're going this way, I probably would. It's only like a room out of the way. Yeah, I think there was a route. Yeah, you're seeing Sponge take it. But going down this way, it's a little bit awkward because you'll have to take the far left path back up. It's another super though, up to 30 already.
That's that's crazy to see for 13 minutes into this game that he's already at go mode with super ammo.
Yeah, just need like one more pack or a few more missiles, and then actually that's fully go mode. So we've got the tanks as well. But yeah, this path going around Mother Brain, which is also good knowledge to have this early in the game.
Best
Meanwhile,
beam
Path
acquired once
just
again.
finds a Spazer. Actually, we're seeing Sponge climb back up. I wonder what he's after.
It's just bowling alley to the immediate right of him, so I wonder if he's... I think he wants to check the major that Path just checked for while he's over here.
Okay. I guess that's fine, but unfortunately we know it is not going to pay off. Path is still really trying to figure out how to navigate this Norfair. There's a lot of options here. 3 close areas all on this side of Norfair, and none of them have a clear sign of being the correct path, so it's just a full-on 1 and 3. Of course, we do still need to find all 4 G4 bosses, so very good chance they all have something of value.
Yeah. Imagine if this was actually no objectives, which is still on the table for their matchup. Like, we'd be looking at a prime Jet Seed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bit of a... I'm trying to think of the word. I was thinking like loaded statement, but what I'm trying to say is obviously if this was no objectives, they would not have started with Varia Ice, which would have slowed things down pretty significantly. But yeah, first area having 30 supers and Mother Brain is a little bit insane. Looks like Path is going to Criteria first. I believe that's the one over here.
Yeah, the route underneath Mother Brain here is going to Criteria.
And I like going to Criteria first in situations like this where there's several close areas, just because I like getting knowledge of the ship. I think that's nice to have in the escape.
Yeah,
Especially if Criteria is going to be big. There's another super, goodness.
There's definitely a higher priority to check Criteria if it's possible to get there. Specifically for that, finding the ship is almost like a hidden objective to some players, and that if you get that locked away with nailing the location, which here we are, it definitely eases a lot of concerns about the escape.
Yeah, this is going to be a very short escape. It's basically right next to the Criteria portal that's right next to Mother Brain. Sponge picking up his 35th super.
Yeah, and a lot of extra energy. So yeah, he should be feeling very comfortable right now with any sort of challenge that he encounters, other than what I was talking about before with Speed Booster potentially blocking his path. But he's looking ready to go here.
There's 2 more X's where Sponge is. There was one through Spooky Missiles and then one down at Spring Ball. And Sponge has so many supers, he doesn't even want to check the X's at 17 minutes.
I don't blame him.
That's so crazy. I mean, at this point, I actually kind of want a second Power Bomb pack with no bombs. The Spring Ball obviously makes things a little nicer, but... Either way, Sponge is going to head to Meridia and finds a Kraid.
A singular crate, one of many.
One of many. I mean, there's at least one more, right? Because there's the one in the original game.
True, yeah. There's also many crate.
True.
Well, nothing really else here in Meridia other than a entrance to Brinstar at the bottom of the map. Ooh, okay. Huge pickup for Path, though, finding gravity.
That is definitely a nice find. Also runs into Brinstar blind. At this point, I might just pivot to checking Bryn. That criteria map is still really far away.
I can see that, yeah. Yeah, so
it looks like Path agrees.
Finding gravity here, I feel like when you compare it to Gravity 9+1, finding the other suit in that mode is not as impactful, but in this mode it is huge because it just speeds up all of your movement through water rooms and takes away the hassle of needing to use the majority of the other items that you get to start with to get through the water room, and it's just huge for speed here. So finding gravity here is, if he's behind in any way, he's going to be catching up very fast.
I mean, the scary thing here is that there's a boss left behind in criteria. Path didn't even check that item, by the way. Just going straight past it.
Yeah.
Apparently you don't need it. The supers just show up. What in the world is going on?
You don't have to worry about a thing. The supers are going to carry you the whole way through.
If you believe, the supers will come.
Yeah, like combined between them, I think they found a total of 45 or 50 supers.
Yeah, well, Path has 2 that Sponge doesn't, and Sponge has the one that Path doesn't, so we're up to 45, yeah? There is a Dragon here in Bryn. Sponge gonna find that relatively soon. Actually enters much closer to the map.
Yeah.
But here's where we're gonna see that gravity start really coming into play. There are a lot of water rooms here in Bryn, and even if Sponge goes towards the gravity, Path is gonna gain so much time just getting there. Though I assume Path is exiting back into Meridia.
I would assume so, but I agree with you that I'd be worried that something might have been missed in criteria, and that would put him in between 2 regions where he still wants to make sure to check. It could be unfortunate if something is back there and then he has to do a lot more backtracking.
Yeah, it's definitely awkward. Oh yeah, Sponge has to go through Pants Room as well. That's tough. So probably just he might just backtrack through Meridia as well, because going through Pants technically in logic with these items, but not what you want to be doing if you don't have to. Is Pants Room in logic with Ice X-Ray no gravity? I know it's possible. I don't know if it's in hard logic.
Well, okay. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure about that. I can double check.
Yeah, I think that's in very hard, maybe. But it is possible if Sponge wants to go that way into criteria. It's a bit tricky, though.
Yeah, looks like it's only in logic with gravity.
Okay. Good to know. Both bosses using the grapple kill on Dragon. Sponge barely missing that quick grapple, unfortunately. Someone in chat asking about it. It's actually an intended Easter egg. grappling onto the broken turrets. Of course, with grapple, that means we can do a very fast fight. Mainly useful in randomizer, not something we really bother with in the vanilla game speedruns because gravity is so out of the way. Or grapple, I mean.
Yeah.
Looks like Paf is going to take the route I suggested, going through the loop, up through Meridia, and then back into Norfair that way. Then might do a second dip into Criteria just to get back to that map.
Yep. So he will run into Kraid along that route then, which he would still obviously see with the map, but yeah, that'll put him about in line with Sponge, and I feel like with his gravity pickup, that's only going to lengthen his lead from that point on.
Looks like Sponge is headed towards Pants Room. Gonna get the 40th super. Oh, that's actually kind of awkward. I didn't realize that the Meridian map did that. Paf not gonna opt to dive through Amphitheater, believe it or not. But fortunately, we'll hit that Kraid, and that leads straight to the map. Gonna have a lot less trouble getting back from the map, too. Sponge took a little bit of time getting up through the crab hole, and Paf should not take nearly as long with that gravity suit.
Okay, so Sponge is attempting to get up through the left side of Pants Room, which without space jump, he's not going to have a way to break the water line to start wall jumping up that side. He will need to rely on the ice clip on the right side of Pants Room in order to make it up there. There is a strat involving bombs where you can break the water line and start bomb jumping up, but he does not have bombs.
Yeah, you can also... It's technically possible to underwater wall jump fast enough to break the plane and then do a full wall jump, but it's not humanly possible, especially not on a controller, which I think Sponge is playing on console, or at least on some kind of controller. Don't think he's a keyboard player. Not that it's much better on keyboard, don't get me wrong.
No, yeah, it's not easy no matter what type of controller you use.
So yeah, Sponge gonna back out of that, gonna head back to Meridia, but that, again, only really strengthens the situation for Paf here, who is in a pretty commanding situation. Gonna do a springball jump up the screw attack room. Nice and easy. Apparently somebody has done the breaking the plane at X-Ray. And of course it was Beefy, the only person who would do something like that. There was another super here. I think that brings our total up to 50 that we've seen.
Yeesh.
There's a 40th for Paf if we wanted to go for those tanks, but don't even need them at this point. See if Paf wants to opt to try this baby scape, or if he just wants to damage down.
It looks like he's opting for the damage down.
Yeah, it's not too bad. With 2 reserves, the getting reduced to 1 isn't that big a deal. Plus you have both suits, so you're really not in that much danger anyways. You want to be careful though. Really don't want these reserves to pop as Path immediately gets hit and is a reserve spot.
I mean, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, but
Yeah, it's not that bad, but not what you wanted to happen. This might
Yeah.
be... Nah, it's not Fantoon. Is this the water map? I can't really tell.
Yeah,
By
that's the water map.
Okay, so what areas haven't we seen the map
Burning
for?
wrecked ship. They have seen Criteria and Norfair.
Yeah, I think Fantoon has to be in Criteria, actually. So... if Turian is full blank and Ridley, Fantoon are both in Criteria, this actually could still be fine for Sponge.
Yeah, he's currently taking the long way around back into Norfair and probably... I don't know if he's heading to Criteria. He looks like he's heading somewhere else.
Yeah, I think he's also heading to Turian, so unfortunately that... Well, hold on. Where is Sponge going? This isn't the way to Turian. I don't think. You may... No, this is where Sponge wants to go.
Yeah. Maybe he's going for the right entrance to Criteria?
Well, Turian was in fact a blank. Path found one major and did not decide to keep it. Just gonna reset back.
Yeah. Oh, this is the same way that Path took to Criteria. Yeah, this... Now we're in Thread the Needle, so yeah, he's on the same path that Path was.
Yeah, I will agree with what chat's saying, which is that I think it's really strange to not go to Turian in this situation. It's the smaller area, and it's closer to where you're coming out of Meridia. I think both of which would incentivize checking it first.
Yeah, it's ultimately going to just require him to travel more distance to see a new area at this point.
Yeah, this is definitely going to work out better. Chat also pointing out that since he tried to get to Criteria earlier through the pants room, he might have kind of tunnel visioned on it, so just wanted to get there as soon as possible.
Sponge picking up his 45th super.
And we are synced up, technically. It's still not exactly an even situation. Path having that gravity is going to continue gaining a lot. Plus has a lot more info on what the Criteria map looks like. Goodness, that map is so far away. This Criteria is really big.
Big Pink sighted. Maybe they'll have 3 more super packs for them.
Nah, Path has already been through this. I think there was... I think this was a super, though, right here. Actually, was it? That might have been the only other power bomb. Okay, chat confirming it was the PB. But you see what I was talking about Path already going through this area, knowing some of the map? And that is speeding him up here a lot. Sponge is was trying to get through Aqueduct instead of just going back to where Big Pink is. Seems to be a much faster route. Potentially. We find a very useful charge beam here.
So useful. Yeah, that's going to provide them infinite value.
It's literally infinite damage on bosses.
That's way bigger than 50 supers.
Exactly. Alright, this elevator is looking promising. Fantoon is right here.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, I think speed is pretty much the only potential useful major left, although it's looking less likely that they even need that.
So one thing I will say, it is possible that Ridley is at the at the top right of landing site, and we don't actually have a way to get there.
That is true.
So just finding bombs or space jump would give us a can fly, which could potentially be go mode. Which would be extra funny if Path had reset like bombs or space at Turian. Fortunately for Path, that is not going to be the case. Or wasn't the case, I should say. Nice fan tune, by the way. Solid 3-round, it looked like.
Very well done.
Apparently there were majors. There were more majors in Turian that I did not catch. Is everyone just holding to see if Ridley's actually can fly locked?
Everyone brace for impact.
Oh, no fun. It's just right there.
Sorry, everyone.
I'm sorry to get chat's hopes up. I gave them the possibility for the seed to be really bad. Everyone got excited, but
that's kind of our job as the commentators, to hype up a situation that is likely not to happen, but at least there was hope for it, right?
yeah. By the way, more bad news for Sponge. I didn't process this earlier. You can see he entered Spore Spawn from the top, but couldn't get down. If he was able to get down, he would have gotten to Everest a lot faster. So getting even more trolled by this map. Things are not coming up in his favor, despite the skit Turian, which did make up a lot of time.
Yeah, not at all, unfortunately. He is now going to be making his way down to Fantoon, but yeah, Paf just able to breeze through and make his way closer to Ridley now, with the definitely required ammo to take him down.
Yeah, not quite as much ammo as Sponge, but should still be enough, I would imagine.
I would hope so.
Yeah, chat pointing out that Sponge is probably going to be skipping that charge beam. I'll let you decide how much impact that will have. Yeah, once again, go back to that pants room as people are discussing. That was really the breaking point for Sponge. If he was able to get through that, which again is technically possible with the ice clip, but Sponge maybe not super comfortable with the suitless ice clip. It is a little bit tricky.
It is, but, yeah. He definitely had all the tools he would have needed to make that happen. I find Spring Ball makes that a lot easier as well, just to make sure that when you freeze the Puyo, you can get wedged in there well enough to just clip right through with an X-ray turnaround. But yeah, if you're not comfortable with it, then it's definitely a huge blocker for that route, and it could have been crazy good for him.
Sponge didn't have X-ray actually, so it's just a full block, unfortunately. But without that pants room, Sponge goes that way. He gets gravity. He gets 2 criteria. Finds both of the last 2 bosses because he's already done Kraden Dragon. This is like a 30-minute seed. It's kind of crazy how well that works out. It was so close, and pants room just stopped us.
F is going to have to take a weird loop around Mother Brain to get to the other side of it.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but there's always awkward running past Mother Brain when that's all you have left to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be
But,
close to a 40-minute seed. I think it's going to be just over 40 minutes for PAF, unfortunately.
yeah. Ooh, for a second I thought that was going to be Shack Tool.
This is the way to Mother Brain. I'm not really sure where PAF is going. Right?
I think it is.
Where... What's PAF doing? Is he gonna save?
I'm not sure what he's doing.
This is scary. Sponge is not that far behind. Like... I'm not really sure where PAF is going. And that's a little bit worrying. Because that just worked, right? Like, going through that gauntlet room, it takes you to ice hallway. You just go down, and that leads to Mother Brain, right?
Yeah, I'm 99% sure of that, unless I'm not seeing something that PAF has realized.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, man. This doesn't even go down to Mother Brain, does it? Is
No,
he...
it does. But it's so much longer.
Goodness.
Yeah, this will take him to the pre-ice beam room. That looks like the Tetris piece. And the bottom right door of that should be the top door of the ice beam hallway.
Oh, goodness. I think he's still in a... Okay, yeah, this leads to the top of ice hallway. But yeah, that was a like a 90-second detour for no reason, basically.
I'm so confused. He's even checking the map again, and should have seen that connection that way.
Well, it's fine. Everything worked out.
Yeah.
Alright. Has 32 supers. Can afford to miss 2. Yeah, we were saying earlier just how confusing that Norfair map was. Everything was so tightly packed, and there was so much of it.
But it is looking like PAF is going to clean up game 2 here, and we are going to go to game 3. I don't think he even saved Eddie. I think he ran right by the save that was in Caterpillar Room.
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him at the end.
Oh, you're talking about earlier. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to pick PAF's brain at the end of this. But with that being said, it looks like the end will have to wait. PAF is moments away from evening up the series. We are going to a Game 3 no objective decider. PAF is going to make it to the ship. Finishes with an official time of 42:28. Sponge, just making it to Mother Brain, is going to opt to forfeit to get to Game 3 right away. It's all coming down to this one race, and of course, it is a no objectives mode. Mother Brain is going to be open right away. We just got to get enough items to kill her. and get back to the ship. We were talking about this in the break, Nito. I think this is a pretty common Game 3 mode. A lot of time you'll see the Metroid no Mother Brain get vetoed, and then one of the pseudo suit modes, either the Varia plus movement or gravity plus tanks. So a lot of times this mode is left open for Game 3. So how do you feel about that one? It's definitely a polarizing mode.
Yeah, that's been very common throughout the tournament so far. I think a lot of people see no objectives as maybe the most RNG of the modes potentially. So a lot of people are saving it as the Game 3 decider pick on if their matchups get to that point, and that definitely creates a drama-filled Game 3 for each of the players as they scramble to hunt down the one thing they have to do while they're in this rando. So it's going to be exciting no matter what.
All right, well, we get an early speed booster that gets us up for these aqueduct items. Gives us nothing too useful just yet. Double power bomb is interesting. But a lot of times there really are two ways that these no objective seeds can go. There's the more exciting option where Mother Brain is either in the first or second area of the game and it's just a mad dash to get enough to actually deal with the fight. And then there's the other option where Mother Brain is late, which can often result in a big 50-50 decision between areas that could have Mother Brain, or potentially even like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4. And it can come down to some RNG, like you say. So hopefully we will see the first option, and Mother Brain is hiding close to this Norfair.
Yeah, I think everybody loves to see the panic set in when Mother Brain is found early, and then it's how fast can we find everything that we need to complete the game. Although nothing wrong with that other one, it's just a bummer if it completely works out for one player, not the other. But we will see what we encounter here.
This is a fairly common Mother Brain setup here in Parlor.
Yeah,
looks like both
Parlor,
runners have made it up here.
Bubble Mountain, Big Pink, areas where there are multiple left doors on the room are definitely common connections to Mother Brain, so we'll be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, Halfy Room, another big one. There's our super. Can't get it, though. We find ourselves going into the climb. This is actually kind of a risky check for Path here. Might not be able to get back.
He should be fine with this connection, but yeah, if it was a connection with only a door frame on that door, that would be a pretty tight short charge to get back. It's possible, but it's
still pretty tight short charge to get back.
Yeah.
Ends up finding Business Center, so a lot of doors to check. We'll see if any of them lead us to Morph. And what do you know?
Speaking of...
Yeah, Sponge, meanwhile, opted to go up climb. I think he sparked up. Or maybe just took a hit from one of those big pirates. But either way, his health is looking a little bit suspect. He's on the path to Morph now, though.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. I like the use of that Shine Spark with less than 29 energy to clear out as many of the enemies in the hallway as possible.
Okay, we'll find another place where we can use that speed in the Croc Speedway, but without a lot of health, and given the fact that we are probably going to have to go through Croc Escape to get back, I'm not going to opt for that just yet. We'll be checking some of these other doors we couldn't get to earlier.
Yeah. Sponge now finding Morph Ball as well.
I didn't see exactly where the map is in this area. It is
Up and to the right there.
this way. Okay. So path is going the other direction, worth noting. And I've got great news. Mother Brain has been found.
Oh boy.
Here it is.
This is what we were hoping for, everyone.
Yeah, Mother Brain is here. We do not know what the areas out of this look like.
Yeah, Pav having to reset his morph ball. He went down. Actually, I'm not sure why he reset there. He went down into the left door of Aqueduct, where you have to destroy the bomb blocks, and then he just reset from there. But
I think he
power bombs to escape.
Did he not check like the bottom left of Bubble Mountain?
I don't think he did. No.
That is strange. Then maybe just like I don't know. I am not sure.
Yeah, but both players are aware now that Mother Brain is here, and it's the mad dash for items.
Yep, we find our first super pack. That's going to be nice. There's plenty of missile doors that have blocked our path so far. Sponge is once again looking a bit low. That map is not looking very accessible. Neither is this elevator that Paf just found. I don't know. Oh, wait, no, he's not the one that picked up the super. I'm silly.
He resets again, and I think he has to go pick up Morph again. Oh, no,
he's got Morph.
Never mind.
I'm still not sure where Paf is going, though. He's actually going to find the kind of bad news that climb supers are vanilla, and he wants to go to the top path. I might be inclined to reset just to save the 2 power bombs.
Sponge going to try this gate glitch.
Yeah, this is in logic, but not with only 5 supers. Or is it in logic?
I don't think it is, no.
It is possible. And Sponge actually gets it first try with a pretty far backup.
First try like a dad.
And of course a reward. Gate. Another gate. That was rough. I don't know where Sponge last saved. Doesn't look like it was too far away though.
Yeah.
Has the power bombs, has those supers.
I don't know if he wants to try that again. It is definitely not within logic to have to do 2 of those in a row, though. Both players looking very low on health.
Yeah, this map is not the kindest in terms of conserving energy. There's a super door up here. Sponge knew about this, and yet getting those supers, he didn't go straight there. This seems to be the path to the map.
Convenient grapple beam for Path to finish crossing moat.
Chat pointing out the fact that we know that it's Fantoon, actually, so Sponge could potentially be looking for missiles, but this is a pretty long backtrack for those missiles. If that's the case. We're actually not even in Norfair anymore. Paf has found a Turian. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so there might be some connection back to Norfair through here to get closer to the map again.
Maybe. So we do get to see what's going on down here in Bubble Mountain finally.
Wow, look at all those majors.
That's a lot of majors, and given that we know Mother Brain is close, I think we're going to be doing some collection up here. The power bomb situation is a bit rough for Paf, though. Gonna be using... He only has one more after using this one to grab this major. And it is just an X-ray. So the first major's a miss, but we've got plenty more where that came from.
I have to use another power bomb to get through Red Fish Room to check that major. And then he'll need more power bombs for checking Bowling Alley.
Yeah, gonna have to do some farming at Redfish, unless Path sees some other place to farm. Let's see a save. That's definitely worth taking at this point.
Yeah.
Sponge has reset the supers. Didn't like what he was seeing at the bottom of Bubble Mountain. It looked like it was 2 dead ends.
Okay, he's triple reverted back to his supers.
We're back. Yeah, this is the panic of seeing an early Mother Brain and no objectives. You know, the game can just end, right?
Yeah.
So the runners are really struggling to figure out exactly what they need to do and when.
It can't be understated that the panic is real for finding Mother Brain early and no objectives. You start doing things that in any other rando you would normally never think about doing, and it's so stressful to run into this situation.
Yeah, Path able to find the bombs, which doesn't help for Mother Brain, but is going to help a lot in his current situation, running around with no PBs on hand.
Absolutely.
I still probably would have tried to farm a power bomb. Oh, Sponge. Yeah, I didn't think that enemy died to supers. In fact, does not.
I think it can die if you hit the lower part of the hitbox with it.
Is that so? I didn't know that.
But
anyways, Path with those bombs is going to be able to break those bomb blocks, which is useful with no power bombs on hand. But I still probably would have tried to farm a power bomb from the Redfish room.
Agreed, yeah.
Do need one to get the major at Wreck Ship Reserve, which is one of the rooms coming up. I didn't see what Sponge ended up hitting, but did opt to reset.
He found Grapple and Moat, and then it's a heated room right after that, and he only had 7 energy.
Oh, right, because he hit the dude. Path is going this way. Unfortunately, there is a major that Path cannot get without a power bomb.
It's a
The
good
gravity
one.
suit's a good find, though. Yeah, Path realizing the bad news is gonna have to go back and farm in order to grab that second major. Our farm spots are still a bit limited. We can farm one of these bugs in the wall. I think the thing you absolutely can't do is leave that behind, I feel like.
Yeah. So, Path coming down to this section of Green Hill Zone where there's a double bug farm that he can...
There's a double bug farm, but it's not a nice one.
Yeah, it doesn't double your farming rate, but it is slightly faster than just the single bug farms.
Okay, it looks like Path is actually going to backtrack all the way to the Redfish farm. Or maybe it goes down to the heated farm, but I don't really like that option.
Yeah.
I really hope he comes back for this major.
He's definitely in a tough spot. I wonder if he's taking this save again to see if he can get through the heated room underneath, because there is an X on the other side, but I don't know. That seems a little dicey.
Yeah, Sponge does get knowledge of the Turian area, sees all the majors. There's one more to the right, where the Criteria and Meridia portals are. And yeah, Sponge's power bombs are looking much better. Entered with 6. Or got to the map station with 6 instead of the 2 that Path had. Or 3, sorry. But yeah, Path is just going to bail for now. Not going to get that major, so Sponge should have no troubles with it, and we will see what it ends up being.
And almost like a cruel twist of fate for that decision, he gets a powerbomb drop off of a chute.
Awesome. But we'll see what this top right major is here in Turian. This is a pretty big Turian, by the way. Worth noting.
Yeah, it is.
Wreck ship probably going to be quite small.
Maybe Path left the area because he saw that there were rooms where he'd definitely be able to get power bombs from, and then he'll loop back for that other bowling alley major.
Maybe. It's not too bad of a backtrack. I did not see what that item was. Space jump, apparently.
It was space jump, yeah.
Shoutouts to WX fan for tracking and also watching the stream, apparently, because I was not. It's an optional Kraid fight that gets us another X if we want to go through it, but Path going to respectfully decline.
Yeah, this is a huge moment where we're going to see what Path left behind.
Sponge's skate glitches have been really clean in this race, by the way.
They really have been. Either single or second try. Like, he's been on point with them.
Yeah, got the first try underwater gate glitch, and then did get the next one second try, even though he couldn't actually survive the area. Chat asking where gravity is. Here. You will find out right now. It is right here.
Varia, maybe?
Varia or Charge are both pretty big. It is Plasma. That is still non-trivial. Yeah. We find Charge. That is going to make Sponge's life so much easier than Path's.
Yeah, so not the biggest impact yet, but just we'll see what else they run into here. So Path has made his way into Criteria, where he is starting to go up West Ocean.
Yeah, I don't know if Path scouted the maze missile item.
I don't think he did.
Okay, we'll see what it is soon enough. It is an X, whatever it is. Another super is quite nice in this situation. Would have been a bit insulting if it was a power bomb, honestly.
Right.
Here's a major. And it's a big one. There's that charge beam.
That is great, but it could be bad for Path.
Yeah, it's good for Path. It's better for Sponge.
Right.
Assuming Sponge goes to this criteria as well, which isn't guaranteed, to be fair.
I would think that, because there's a criteria entrance and a Meridia entrance here in Torian, and they're right next to each other, I think he would opt for criteria as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Sponge is probably going to get the top right Turian major first, though, so Path's still maintaining a lead for the time being, and Sponge is going to prove us wrong, it looks like.
Wow, interesting. That is actually a weird decision to me.
Yeah, we'll see how it pays off. Meridia basically has to have the goods for this to be worth. Has to have like either Varia or a lot of tanks.
Yeah.
Speaking of tanks, there is one in Criteria. That is not going to do us enough.
Still going to need 4 more or only 1 more if Aria is also found.
There's a major in Meridia. Looks like only one. There's some assorted X's and O's as well, but
yeah. And there is a loop back into Criteria from Meridia, so potentially interesting.
That's not too bad then. Finding a spring ball up here in Criteria.
Oh, is Sponge not going to check this major?
He's farming for supers for the metal pirates that are coming up.
Oh, it's Metal Pirates Room. Gotcha.
Yeah. And of course, it's a power bomb under the bridge, so had to farm up the supers to have enough. Need at least 1 drop from this first one. Got 2. Path going after the 1. Actually, there's a second hollow in Criteria, so that will be up to 4 tanks. Sponge picking up a high jump boot. 2 of them, in fact. Presumably, at least.
Sponge now up to 3 tanks as well. Oh, he should see, if he decides to go up to Criteria, he should see 2 more up there based on what Path's gotten so far.
Yeah, so that'll bring Sponge up to 5. And then I think there was a 6 somewhere that Half got. I don't know where it came from, though. Yeah, it's looking more and more... Wait, Sponge is looping into Bryn. Hold on.
Oh, man.
What? Sponge does not want to go to Criteria. I don't like this because, like, we know where Mother Brain is. We don't want to be checking every area we can find. I feel like...
Yeah.
Like, I know it's still technically a 50-50 here. Like, again, the 50-50 Meridia and Criteria, and then the 50-50 Bryn and Criteria. But I just feel like we're doing a little bit too much here.
I feel like it's always like I don't know if maybe he's just really hoping for a clutch of Aria here or something. It's tough to really commit to that, especially when tanks are pretty plentiful, and he's even found his 4th tank here in Bryn.
Yeah, found a clutch E-tank is not too bad of an outcome.
He is also finding the ammo he'll need to at least get the fight started. But I think he really needs to hightail it out of here from Bryn.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where Path goes from here, by the way. Might opt for Meridia, might also opt to, like, go back to Norfair. I don't know how close this Criteria entrance was to the map.
Sponge is continuing to go down Red Tower.
Yeah, the map is under Red Tower somewhere down here.
Okay.
It's not too far away. It should just be down this elevator, perhaps. Hopefully. Here it is. Alright, what's in Bryn? There is 1 major and a loop back to Norfair. Sponge is not too happy about seeing it, but
yeah, that major's not.
Oh wait, you can't even you can't get to it either. You have to go either through Ridley or through Amphitheater.
And even if you do get through there, you also have to go through Croc. That's a terrible path that just check 1 major.
Oh my goodness.
hoping that Sponge just bails on Bryn.
Yeah. As chat points out, that might be the best case for Sponge. Just force him to go to Criteria where his charge is. But it's tempting. There's a major over there. There's a lot of tanks.
Okay, he's not bailing.
We are not bailing. Half trying to get down to the Meridia map. Meanwhile, I think the tube actually took him past it. Yeah. That's right, because it's down the other Mount Everest down door. Right here.
Okay, well, Sponge is gonna run into Croc here in just a second.
Yeah, the Croc fight, not great without charge. This is plenty of ammo, though. Path is going to get his 5th and 6th tanks here. There's one more behind Metal Pirates, past the Major.
Getting that last tank will put him into go mode since he does have charge. He does have wave, which is... It's not a great beam combo, but it's not the worst for Mother Brain.
Yeah, it really... It's like... calls into... I'm trying to think of how to word this. The one mistake Paf has really made in this race was not managing the power bombs and having to bail on what ended up being plasma. If Paf had done that, this is basically a perfect route. All the tanks are fairly on path. This Meridia will loop back into Turin and Norfair, which is where we want to be. It's a bit awkward. I don't think there's a way to speed Zeb skip Mother Brain with where it was.
Yeah,
So we're going to have to break everything and refill.
It was off of Business Center, right?
Yeah, it was like the middle of Business Center. Because you can do it if it's at the bottom, but it was not.
I feel like I've seen a speed Zeb skip there before. It just depends on the connecting rooms.
No, well, it was like the middle of Business Center in the map.
Yeah, I feel like I have seen a speed Zeb skip there before.
That would be a kind of crazy short charge.
Well, that's why I'm saying it depends on the connecting room. So, like, the bottom left door would have to be a room that would allow runway so that you could come in the Business Center, get your shine charge, and jump up into the middle door to use in Mother Brain's room.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I don't remember. Paf is checking Bryn. I don't know why. Like, I think you just have to go.
Yeah.
My general opinions towards no objectives. Once you get your...
That is the worst thing that you can find.
That's Spazer?
All that. Yeah, Spazer.
Goodness.
Oh, no.
As if things couldn't be bad enough. Speaking of bad enough, Paf is in a bit of trouble here.
Had to burn through all of his ammo. He just barely made it out of there.
Goodness.
Yeah,
well, the good news is Paf is going to hit this map and not going to bother going through.
I would hope not, because I think the only thing that Paf could possibly be looking for right now is ice.
Ice would be very helpful. Yeah, Paf is just going to reset out. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely the right choice.
I kind of forgot the save was so close. I don't mind the check as much, knowing that. I still think it's probably just not going to be worth. But it is an awkward Mother Brain. Again, like, not having that plasma is really hurting Paf.
And he is going to have a route back here in Naturian, so that will take him back to Mother Brain.
Yep, nice and easy.
So then it really just comes down to how comfortable is Path with essentially an ammoless fight. He'll have some supers left over, but how comfortable is he with just charge wave?
I'm not totally sure, honestly. I actually wonder if there's a world where Path goes for that major. Like, goes back for Plasma. And it looks like he is. Again, I don't love it, but it's going to pay off very handsomely for Path.
Yeah. Sponge committing to fighting Phantoon.
This isn't the worst backtrack ever for Path.
Yeah, I picked up plenty of movement to be able to get here pretty quick.
Yeah, got the full movement. Also got the wave, so don't even need to bother with gate glitching. Just run straight through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Path did not see this item earlier. This is a full blind check, to be clear. But
it's going to be huge.
Yeah, he's honestly probably going to be a bit worried seeing that, given that he had to bail on it early. It's hard to shake the idea of your opponent just doing the exact same thing as you did, but managing power bombs better, and then, just having that plasma. So Path is probably going to be a little bit panicked at the moment. There's a power bomb drop, by the way, on his way out. Awesome.
Yeah, you always tend to assume that your opponents didn't make any sort of mistake that happened to you during a run, so it's so easy to think that you're behind all the time.
It's really hard not to think you're behind. Like, it's easy to. It's also easy just to overemphasize your own movement mistakes. Feel like you're just playing way worse than you actually are. If that makes sense. There's a major by Mother Brain. There's potentially a double major down in Bubble Mountain that the runners could have checked. Sponge did go back down to Bubble Mountain and didn't opt to go through that missile door. Or that super door. That could have been a really big moment as well. But I digress. Path is made it to Mother Brain. Again, no way to Zeb skip, it looks like. So just gonna break through the Zebs. We can do the first 3 and then reset and farm back to full, and then 15-10 is enough. I can actually break all 4, nice. Okay. Just barely.
There's a save room very close as well, and there might be a farm nearby. I think Chad was saying that there was a farm nearby.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it is though.
Wait a minute, which region was Phantoon in? Was it?
It was in Norfair.
Was that Phantoon's save station connected there?
Phantoon save station was early. We saw it fairly early on. I don't remember where it was though. Was that the save station in Business Center?
I can't remember.
I think it was earlier. Yeah, the wreck ship save station is more pink. Okay, 15-3. We need one more super. Path does.
Yeah, just one more.
And of course, at the final hour, the drops being a pain.
Oh he's going in with one super short.
Yeah,
This is
15.
not going to work.
Oh, and a missile gets blocked. Path's gonna reset right away. 15-3 shouldn't be enough, right? There's a
It's
various suit behind Mother Brain.
he got another super drop anyways.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I thought it was 18-3 was the minimum required. You still need to do 3,000 damage to Mother Brain 1. And 15-3 just isn't enough damage. It's not 1,500 plus 1,800, because the first 6 missiles are used to break the glass. You get to see even our own Eddie making these mistakes. So you can't won't let anyone blame the runners for making mistakes when Eddie, not even in the race, just forgetting that you have to break the glass to Mother Brain. That was a tight dodge on the catch-up, by the way, for Paf.
Yeah, it was. But he is through. And he will be securing game 3 here shortly.
Yeah, looking that way. The escape is a little weird, but it is fully known about. Paf has the ship known.
Yeah.
Has seen it before, I mean.
And somehow Sponge has ended up in Wreck Ship, and I have no idea how.
That's an excellent question. Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna criticize the runners too much. I do think I don't like Sponge's approach to this. I think no objectives. You see Mother Brain early. You just can't be doing this full world tour that Sponge is doing. It just takes so much time to go everywhere. And obviously, it's a little bit unlucky that the one place he didn't thoroughly check in Criteria is the one that has the item he needs. But again, the Criteria was right there. It's a place you want to go anyways because it gives you knowledge of the ship. I just feel like it was a... Maybe you could say the rest of this, like the way Sponge has played the rest of this is fine, and it's just that one mistake of not going to Criteria that spiraled out of control. But it is definitely spiraled. Sponge finds his way to an area we don't even know where he got here, while Paf is minutes away, seconds away even, from finishing the game.
I think I saw chat say that the Wreck Ship entrance was above Mother Brain and Norfair.
Okay.
So he passed by at some point.
Yeah, he's not too far away from being able to finish the game on ammo. Just needs one more super pack. Of course, there are no supers in Wreck Ship. All the tanks were there, though. Goodness. Might have been a faster route for Paf. This is going to be kind of a tight escape. But I don't think Paf is going to worry about that too much.
Yep, he will definitely be securing game 3 here and winning the set overall.
Yep, 2-1 victory for Paf, winning with an official time of 39:21. And we'll be moving on in the gold bracket of the tournament. GG's to Paf.
GG's for sure. He will face the winner of Andy and Techno Waffle in round 4, the lower side of the gold bracket. And Supersponge will be facing Carter Freak in the first round of the silver bracket.
Yeah, I think Sponge is honestly going to be one of the favorites in the silver bracket. I do think he is very good. Obviously, had a little bit of shambles in this race. It was a tough best of three. Both runners showing off some really impressive skills, but also struggling with some of these seeds.
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges put in front of them.
We are joined by Sponge.
Yo,
GG's.
yo! GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, how you feeling after that one?
Maybe had I committed to ammo sooner, I might have had a chance there. But then again, I had no idea where the ship was. I hadn't set foot in Criteria yet, so maybe not. Not sure.
That will definitely be a subject of discussion for this last game, as we are joined by Paf as well. GG's
Howdy.
on your victory here.
GG's.
Oh, GG's. Seems like a couple of the games were pretty close, at least. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't a total blowout.
Yeah, me too. Either way.
This was definitely a back and forth set between you two.
Good. That's the real goal. No matter
Yeah.
what.
I'm trying to remember the first two seeds, honestly. I know the seed 1 was really close, although part of that was a little bit of shambles at the end from
Oh,
Sponge.
Yeah, that.
The mother brain
that
situation.
disaster.
What happened?
Yeah. I engaged in smacking the glass when I then took a look at my missile count and saw I didn't have enough to actually start the fight. So I had to.
So we were saying
around.
we think you actually had exactly enough because you had broken the
Oh.
glass and you still had 12 missiles total. But obviously, if you got one sniped, you were in a pretty bad
Right.
situation.
And I figured I'd just bail as opposed to that happening, since I at least had enough to get out of the last or the first Zeptite. And I could not remember when my last save was, so I figured why toss the whole thing out the window when I guess I can try to salvage it.
Man, I guess you were very far ahead game one. Nice. Does the commentary team know what in particular set him so far ahead? Did you just have some godly route or something?
Again, I'm trying to remember. I think you missed something that Sponge was able to get.
Can you unlock the spoiler sponge for the first game?
Hold
Nah.
on.
Nah, yeah, I'll get that in a second.
So game one had the speed locked Ridley. I think I got speed early-ish.
Oh, I think a big part of it was Sponge skipping the Meridia. Didn't have to go through that.
Oh yeah,
Unlock
yeah. He entirely skipped Meridia.
Yeah, did that, and then I think just handled the early game better, if I remember correctly.
Fair enough. Okay, let's see here. Game one. Map.
C2 had like a million supers. They were all on path. That was pretty
Oh.
sick.
45? That's ridiculous.
Man. Oh, I remember game one. I had 30 power bombs. Okay. That
that's
did
not-
not feel good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was the one you didn't find charge, so you were playing ammo.
That's right.
So that also didn't help.
Yeah.
Yes, there were a lot of power bombs.
That's right. Yeah, I checked plasma, but charge was the other major in wreck ship. Right. Okay.
Now, game two was pretty interesting in that Path looped through Criteria, and then on the way back looped through, I believe it was Bryn.
Yes.
And then
Bryn.
you picked up Gravity, which was super helpful for navigating through the rest of the rando. But Sponge ended up going down into Brinstar from the region above. I think it was Meridia.
Yeah. Okay.
And what ended up happening there was Sponge ended up getting blocked by Pants Room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think was on the other side of Gravity. So it was just like
That's
so
unfortunate.
Cruel.
Yeah,
So
that's really
cruel.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it would have been such a crazy route too. If you get past Panzer, you just end up getting Gravity, going to the area that had
There it
the
is.
last two bosses, and then just finishing in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, no X-ray to try and
Mm-hmm.
clip up through there either, or X-ray climb.
Space jump to get
Yeah.
out of the grapple
Yep,
block
no,
area.
no space.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that I couldn't get through there, so I continued down there and realized, oh wait a sec, I don't have the ability to go. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was unfortunate. I was feeling pretty good too. I figured, yeah, it's connected to criteria. This is gonna be sweet. Just go around and yeah, it didn't quite work. But the
Tough.
idea was sane.
Oh, I think it was a good idea. That mother brain loop where there's like two one-ways that feed into her. Oh god, I hated that. I
Yeah.
feel like I paused about 5 times and I kept missing
So
like
Yeah,
we
where
actually
I was
meant to ask
going.
you. We actually meant to ask you about this. I assume you just ended up missing it, but you ran into room 2 of Gauntlet, which led to the back of Ice Hallway.
Yeah,
And then
I just forgot there's a door there.
awesome. Yeah,
that would have helped a
you
little
ended up
bit.
going the long way, losing like a minute and a half or something like that.
Yeah, not great.
And
Yeah, and
then
then
game
game
three.
3.
Oh
That-
gosh.
Yeah, that really just came down to a choice of Path went to Criteria through that one Meridia room, and Sponge went to Meridia, and Path finding Charge in Criteria at the top of, I believe it was West Ocean. That was just
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
yeah, that was the huge deciding factor there. I guess Sponge, I'm curious. So between games 2 and 3, I guess it was just sort of like an adverse decision to want to go to Criteria on a couple of occasions. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because I feel like even if you don't find anything particularly useful in there, you've at least secured the location of the landing site, most likely. So what was going through your mind when you had those decisions to make?
Subverting expectations. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. That's right. See, game 2. I'm trying to remember exactly what was going through the noggin at that point. Where did we start?
That's tough.
Um,
Yeah,
I think
it's
they
so
felt like a lot of
easy to
stress,
get
man.
seed bleed between all these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. If we focus on game 3, the fresher one. Let's see, at that point, I think I wanted to check the major by Mother Brain, which ended up being Varia. Wreck ship was right there, so. And I think by the time I had gone through. Did I go? I did go to Meridia. I think I just kind of figured I'd be working my way back toward Mother Brain at that point, since I knew Wreck ship was over there. And I should end up with enough ammo or whatever, or if the major was charged, then I'd be one happy camper. So I just kind of figured I'm just gonna head towards there, hopefully get enough stuff to be able to kill Mother Brain, and then just wing it for the ship and hope for the best. At least for game 3. I couldn't tell you for game 2 looking at the map.
Yeah. Yeah, it ended up being just the cruelest twist of fate, because early on, Path was running into power bomb issues, and he actually could not get the major at the top of Bowling Alley, which ended up being Plasma, which you got early. So
Yeah.
what ended up happening was Path found Charge and Wave in Criteria, and then in the cruelest twist of fate possible, after you see the Meridia map, you see Bryn, and the routes into Bryn are just terrible. You either have to go through Ridley, or you have to take the long way around and still go through Croc to get to the one major that's in there, and you go through all of that just to find Baser.
The best beam.
The best
So-
beam for sure.
Yeah.
So did you get the Norfair map, Sponge, on game 3? Did you kill Fantoon?
Yes.
Holy
Yes, I
cow!
did.
Okay, I didn't,
That-
and
that
I'm
was
just looking
towards-
here, and there's Varia, there's Ice, pretty close to Mother Brain. Holy cow!
Yeah.
That
I
is
never went back for
frightening.
Ice. I kept.
The Sponge ended up killing Fantoon towards the end of the race.
Ah,
Yeah,
gotcha. I guess you can't really get up Main Street very well. So that
Yeah,
makes
definitely.
sense.
Yeah.
grab, so no sweat. But yeah, just didn't go to criteria. Bad move.
That's just the way it goes sometimes. And like, so we were talking before that, you either get a early Mother Brain and a no objective seed, and then panic sets in for just trying to scramble for what you need to finish the fight, or you get a late Mother Brain and then it's just an RNG fest to who took the correct route to get there. And so we were definitely excited to see the early Mother Brain, because a lot of interesting decision making starts happening right away.
Right.
Which I feel like both of you were showcasing a lot of like the different ways of thinking for progressing through the rando. It just happened to pay off better for Path in this case.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad someone at least likes seeing early Mother Brain. I hate it. God.
It is very stressful for sure. We've all been there with some of the casual races that we've been doing outside of the tournament.
Yeah. Good times though. Fun mode for a game 3. Fun mode.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too terrible. Didn't feel too RNG heavy. So it was a good no objectives, I think.
Yeah.
Had I committed to ammo sooner, maybe I'd have been a bit closer at least. But you never know. I figured after plasma I gotta commit to charge, but never got it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that too.
Yeah, I'd say that's the right instinct. It just didn't work out for finding it. That's all.
And I
Unfortunately.
used the Santa Sprite, not the Dread Sprite, so
Oh yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a little race time chat earlier or before the race with Pav asking Sponge if he'd like to switch to the Santa Sprite with him.
It's
Who
the
knows?
holiday.
Maybe that was a little
Right.
subterfuge.
It might be the
Yeah,
wrong holiday, but who's
sabotage.
counting really?
I mean, there's no bunny sprites, so
Not
like
yet.
little bunny ears or anything. Not yet, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's. Way to go. I'll
Yeah.
go down to silver bracket and cause some mayhem down there, hopefully.
Oh, good luck. I hope you win it.
I'll try my
Yeah.
best.
I
know
do
you
think
did
Sponge
well.
is probably going to be one of the favorites in the silver bracket. It's
It's
Oh,
going to
for
be a
sure.
Pretty
bloodbath
good.
down there, I think.
I'm definitely excited for it. Be a Path moving on to face the winner of Andy versus
Ooh.
Techno Waffle, and then the winner
Oh,
of that
man.
plays the loser of Aussie and myself. So basically, what I'm asking is, how prepared are you for Aussie?
Well, Aussie kicked me out of upper bracket first tournament, and it wasn't close. So I kind of would expect something similar to happen. But Waffle's been playing super good, but I really want to face Andy because he kicked me out of the first tournament, and I haven't forgotten. 8 years. 8 months, pardon me. I have a
Okay,
bone to
8
pick.
years.
Yep,
Yeah.
8 whole years. So I really hope I see Andy, but Waffle's been playing super well, so who knows?
The crazier things have happened in this tournament so far, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sponge, you are heading to the silver bracket where you will face Carter Freak in the first round. How do you feel about that
Alright.
matchup?
he's good. I'm not sure. I fairly confident, but it's pretty easy to just kind of have an off day, or they play really well, and then but yeah, just try my best, hope for the best, keep doing what I'm doing, maybe practice a little bit between then and now. Whatever I can think of. I'm not entirely sure, but I know I need work somewhere.
Sounds good to me. Derp, did you have any other questions you wanted to go over?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. If both the runners have any final thoughts they want to say before we close out.
Yeah, sure. Just, thanks for everyone watching. And as always, thanks to Speed Gaming. Thanks to all the volunteers for putting this on. All the tournament admins for, making it happen. It's fun. Tournament season's always really fun. So, just appreciative.
An absolute blast. Yeah, thanks Nito, thanks Derp, thanks WX Fan, thanks, and of course, Speed Game, and yeah, everybody for watching, all this good stuff, and Eddie, I suppose, for setting up this whole thing. This is it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun indeed. But that is going to do it for us. Ito, you want to close us out?
Sure. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the really nice matchup that we saw here tonight. We will definitely see you next time for another match of this Map Rando tournament. I am Nito here with Derp on commentary, WX joining in at the last second on tracking, very, very helpful. GG's to Paf and Supersponge as well. And we will see you all next mission. Have a good rest of your night.